Welcome to Politics Done Right on KPFT. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Give me a call at 713-526-5738. That is 713-526-KPFT. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Warm weather, you know what I mean?
Well, enjoy the fall while you're here.
I will enjoy the fall, but
in the States.
Cold as coming.
We're stuck with us.
I'm stuck. Come
so
on,
enjoy.
I'm an American.
Of course,
I'm an American.
I know you.
Come on.
I'm sorry I put it that way. That's not. I'm saying it's not Panama. Sorry.
Yes,
Don't
I
bring
know.
the heat with you.
I kind of brought it with me earlier.
Yeah, we are Texas.
Yep, Don, how you doing? Or is Don not here today?
Oh, I'm here.
He's right here next to
Well,
me.
you can't be hiding. We have
No,
several people in the studio now.
She
Come
cut
on.
off my mic. No.
Oh, Shannon.
I had to turn him on.
Oh, Shannon, I can't believe you did that. But
Yeah.
folks, we are going to have a great show for you today.
Yes.
We're going to get busy, but we're going to get busy right now, okay? Here's what we're going to talk about. The name of the show today is As Trump Sabotages the ACA, it's activists' job to help Americans sign up. Right, activists?
That's right.
Absolutely so. Okay, folks, so here we go. Look, Donald Trump and his administration have been sabotaging the ACA since coming into office, of course. Marco Rubio was responsible for past increases as he prematurely killed the risk channels to the insurance companies. Now, Trump has reduced ACA advertising by 90% and has cut the navigator budget substantially. He is allowing companies to deny women reproductive services on religious grounds. Trump is about to sign an executive order. Well, at the time that I wrote this, he was about to sign, so I should now change it. Trump signed an executive order that will allow insurance companies to sell junk insurance again. Today, we have two special guests that will detail what role activists can play to mitigate the Obamacare sabotage. We have Nisha Randle is a Houston activist who was part of the Texas State Coordinating Team for the Women's March on D.C. And let me tell you, she kicked some butt doing that stuff, putting that stuff together. And the Austin Sister March, okay? She is involved in several groups locally, including Pantsuit Republic, Indivisible Houston, and God knows what else, because, every time I pull Facebook up, there's something from Nisha. Sometimes I get tired watching the amount of work this woman does. Then we have, of course, Melissa McChesney is a Houston-based independent consultant for the Center for Public Policy's Priorities. Melissa has worked extensively in both policy and practice related to outreach and enrollment into the marketplace, Medicaid and CHIP. Since joining the center in 2015, she has provided policy analysis, training, and troubleshooting to enrollment assisters across the state of Texas. Prior to joining the center, she worked as a senior policy analyst for the Texas Health and Human Services Commission on the team that implemented eligibility changes to the Medicaid and CHIP programs required by the ACA. But folks, listen to me now. Remember that we are in fund drive, so please call 713-526-5738 or visit kpft.org now to keep our progressive radio station on air. The right invest in their sources of misinformation. Please, progressives, are you out there? Are you listening? And good thinking conservatives, are you listening? Invest in sources of real information like KPFT, the Daily Kos, and other liberal sources of information. Let's liberate America's minds by removing them from the misinformation chains of bondage. Before I get to the program, however, I want to remind all our listeners that KPFT is a bastion of intelligent information, voices, and programs. As a political activist myself, my favorites are The Monitor with
Mark Babawi. That is every Monday at 7 p.m.
All right. Think Wing Radio with with
Mike Honig, also on Mondays at 9 p.m.
Then we have Partisan Gridlock with
Jeff Berg, that is on Friday at 3 p.m.
And then, of course, there is Open Journal.
Well, that's with Dwayne Bradley, and so many more. There's Neil Colbreth, and we rotate our different hosts. Yes.
Right. And there's...
You always put me on the spot with that, Egberto.
what...
That is now on Mondays at 6 p.m., but I need all of their names in front of me, even though I work with them, and it's shameful that I don't just have it all to spill out.
I have to say, you're too young to be having problems with names, though.
I've always had problems with names.
I'll give you that. Okay, and then we have Jazz Latino, Afro-Cuban Latin Jazz at its best with
Juan Flores. That is now from 12 to 2. I believe it's on Tuesdays.
Yes, ma'am. And of course, there's The Human Condition at 3 p.m., followed by The Free Minstrel Show with Don and Dwayne at 4 p.m.
And he's in the house.
And
he can tell you
Don
more.
is in the house. Tell us a little bit more, Don.
You said it all.
No, I think...
Come on, the inner side. Have you...
Okay. What? No. Well. Oh yeah. And
Yeah,
then
you
I
have another program.
I have a lot of programs.
Yes.
Also with Thursdays at 10 p.m. Really but not really. So that's tonight at 10 p.m. Really but not really.
There you go. So we have Don. Then, you see, we need to have all these shows listened to and people contribute to these shows to make sure we keep this stuff on air. Before I go a little bit further, is Stu out there yet?
I don't know if Stu's able to come in and join us today, so Don might be our official pitch partner today.
Well, Don knows what he's doing. Okay, let's go. Check out our full schedule at kpft.org, where you can find programming from music to politics to medicine to the eclectic. KPFT is a listener-supported public community radio station, so please remember that if you like what you hear, visit kpft.org and ensure we remain a strong, viable community radio station that provides news, programming, and information not influenced by whom?
The corporatocracy.
This is KPFT 90.1 FM in Houston, Texas. We want to hear your voice. We want to hear your thoughts. So remember, follow hashtag Politics Done Right, Twitter, Egberto Willies. You can listen to the live stream or go to Facebook Live. We are all there. And I want to get to the blog of the week rather quickly because we have two great guests in here that we want to hurry and get to. So, do you know what time it is? Okay, normally when I say, do you know what time it is? There's some magical music that plays. There's some
the
keyboard.
magic
There it
continues
is.
to come.
It's time for the weekly blog post.
Wow, we did it. We did it. We did it. The Shocker, the name of the blog of the week. And it has nothing to do with healthcare, but I simply had to do this one because it was relevant. The title of the blog post is The Trump Overthrow May Have Started. The establishment is starting to reassert. Okay, the shocker continues to fly. What does it say when the architect of your win believes you only stand a 30% chance of fulfilling your first term as president? Here is why I think that barring a sudden change, the countdown to an overthrow, a post-Trump, is on. Donald Trump is in over his head. He, along with his Trumpian posse, are the only ones that are oblivious to the reasserting of the establishment as they build an overthrow. In a riveting article by Gabriel Sherman in Vanity Fair, it is clear that all the grown-ups surrounding Trump know the man is unstable. Yes, we have a wacky president, folk. West Wing aides have also worried about, this is what the article says. West Wing aides have also worried about Trump's public appearances. One Trump advisor told me. The advisor said aides were relieved when Trump declined to agree to appear on the season premiere of 60 Minutes last month. He's lost a step. They don't want him doing adversarial TV interviews. The advisors explain instead, Trump has sat down for friendly conversations with Sean Hannity and Mike Huckabee, whose daughter is Trump's press secretary. The White House official says the 60 Minutes interview is being rescheduled. Right. Okay. Ironically, Steve Bannon may be accelerating his boss's demise. He said as follows. Even before Corker's remarks, some West Wing advisors were worried that Trump's behavior could cause the cabinet to take extraordinary constitutional measures to remove him from office. Several months ago, according to two sources with knowledge of the conversation, former chief strategist Steve Bannon told Trump that the risk of his presidency wasn't impeachment, but the 25th Amendment, the provision by which a majority of the cabinet can vote to remove the president. When Bannon mentioned the 25th Amendment to Trump, you know what Trump said? Hey, what's that? He didn't know what the 25th Amendment was. So he didn't know they could kick him out of office in that manner. According to a source, Bannon told people that he thinks Trump has only a 30% chance of making it to the full term. So, folks, everyone knows Trump is a paranoid, thin-skinned person. Why then would Bannon talk to Trump about the 25th Amendment, which in effect tells the president that he must always be looking over his shoulders with a cabinet that may be ready to overthrow him? He wants the overthrow with the expectation of destabilizing the country to fulfill his deconstruction of the administrative state. Remember those words? The media is now in concert with a narrative of an unhinged president that cannot be trusted with the nuclear codes. A few respected Republicans like David Frum and Bob Corker are building the 25th Amendment case. Others are making the case for impeachment. So, folks, the soft overthrow is in process. Folks, the telephone number is 713-526-5738. Again, the number is 713-526-5738. Anybody in Central right now at all?
It is quiet out there.
Hey,
at the moment.
folks, we need some calls for Politics Done Right.
But we do have people to answer the phones. Hank is out there ready to stand by and answer those phones, and a slew of other volunteers, but we need to hear from you.
713-526-5738. I'm giving you, before I go to these two wonderful guests, I'm giving you a time to make that call. Get those phone numbers, those calls in now so that we can get to the program. 713-526-5738. By the way, how comes the phones are showing up as ringing on this thing?
I am training, Don. While I'm pitching with you, I'm training. I'm a super duper multitasker, and I knew, hey, Egberto can handle this.
Oh, is that what's happening
He's
now?
a pro.
I don't know about all of that. But anyway, let's get started, and folks. 713-526-5738. But we are going to get started with the program. Melissa, welcome aboard, and thank you so kindly for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's actually important. These are very important times, and it's sort of ironic that we have you on today. And what's funny is that today is the day that Donald Trump went ahead and signed that executive order that, in effect, take away, or rather, is going to... You tell us what it's going to do.
Sure, yeah. So, at a very high level,
yes,
what he signed today is going to make it easier for insurance companies to sell cheaper and skimpier coverage that doesn't comply with the Affordable Care Act. Mm-hmm. So it'll make it easier to sell coverage that people with pre-existing conditions can't access. It'll be easier to sell coverage that doesn't cover all of your essential health benefits like maternity coverage. And in creating a channel for people to be able to sell that, insurance companies to be able to sell that, what you're going to do is you're going to end up with a couple of different things, and I'm going to try really hard not to use any wonky terms, but basically the people who really need coverage that covers their health insurance, they're going to buy that full the full coverage that was created under the Affordable Care Act that actually allows them to access health care.
Right.
But your younger, healthier people, they might gravitate more toward the skimpier coverage because it's going to be cheaper. And what that's going to do is it's going to send your markets into a tailspin, and premiums are going to go up for anybody who actually wants health care coverage that actually covers their health care.
What I find ironic is that people don't understand what insurance is. And this is... people look at insurance as if it is a product. And I think one of the problems is that we try to sell insurance as a product. Insurance is not a product. It's a bet. And I hate to just put it that way, but insurance is a bet. Why do you think, and let me put it on your side of the aisle or your side of the explanation, if you will. Why is it that we don't try to explain to the people at large that when they purchase insurance, they're not purchasing something necessarily to use, but they're purchasing something that they hope they don't have to use in its full right, because what it does is it just guarantees that you don't go bankrupt. It just guarantees that if something is very expensive, you will be covered.
I think I actually want to push back a little bit on that, just because I think that the coverage that we envisioned under the Affordable Care Act, it actually is coverage that is meant to do more than just keep you from going into medical debt. And of course, that's like basic baseline.
Right.
We don't want people going into medical debt. Medical debt was the number one reason people went into bankruptcy before the Affordable Care Act. So that is absolutely a reason that we want to sell coverage, especially to people who don't have a health care condition and therefore don't expect to necessarily need to go to the doctor this year for anything other than a checkup. But most people do have a health care condition, right? Even if you're young and healthy, if you're a woman, you might want to, you need to go in. You might want to have babies this year. You know, there are everybody needs to access healthcare at some point, and I think the healthcare that people who support the Affordable Care Act and beyond the Affordable Care Act envision is healthcare that means that you can actually access preventive care and access the care that you need right here now. And really, we can make that affordable for everyone, but in order to do that, we've got to get everybody into the pool. Everybody's got to get in the pool. Everybody's got to buy into the idea, including your young and healthy people. And the only way we're going to make that happen is if we make coverage more affordable across the board.
Now, my statement was a bit simplistic, and I like the pushback that you gave. I think it was a necessary pushback, but I want to reiterate one thing, and that is, I think it is important for people. You see, a lot of the younger folks, they are willing to stay without insurance because the bet that they're making is, I'm not going to use it. And the reason that I said product is because if you look at it as a product, if it's something that you're not going to use, then you see it as a product. You see what I'm saying? And that is what I'm trying for all of us to get around. This is not a product. This is just something you're supposed to have. Now, personally, what I prefer is a system where our healthcare is paid out of general funds. Period. Everybody pays taxes, right? Let's pay it out of general fund. I won't use a special word right now because we're talking about the Affordable Care Act. So let me ask you, as far as this is concerned, we know that, as I mentioned in the blog post, that Trump has cut a lot of the advertising budget for the Affordable Care Act. As well, he has cut the people who navigate for the Affordable Care Act. What is that going to do to the enrollment numbers?
Sure. So we'll start with the advertising piece, which is just a huge cut. So the original number that they were going to fund for advertising in the health insurance marketplaces was $100 million. They have cut that down to just a minimum amount. They've cut it 90% down to $10 million. To help people get a sense of how ridiculous that cut is, the state of California has their own state-based exchange just for their state. They'll be spending $110 million
by themselves
just
in
for California.
Right.
And the $100 million that was supposed to be slated, that now is only a mere $10 million, that is for all of the 30 states that use the health insurance marketplace platform. So that 10 million will basically be able to help them run their emailing campaign out to current enrollees. None of your big ticket advertising items are going to be available. So you're not going to see near as many TV ads or any of those big things that you may have seen in previous years. So that's a real big problem. So the advertising cut, I think the thing that's going to make the biggest impact from the advertising cut is people who aren't as motivated to go get coverage. And again, we're talking about these young, healthy people that we need to get them in the pool. They're going to be less motivated to seek it out themselves. And so if they don't have people telling them, hey, it's still here. I mean, that basic message that the ACA is still here, a lot of people who aren't as connected to what's going on every day in Congress, they actually think that the ACA is gone. They think that it left when Obama left office, or that the Congress has repealed it or is going to repeal it. And so just the basic message that the ACA is still here for you, getting that out to people who wouldn't seek out that information on their own is so important, so that those young, healthy people come and buy insurance. And if they don't do that, you're going to see your premiums increase. Now, for the navigator cuts, and we actually saw a couple of iterations of this. First, at the end of August, there were some government contracts that were canceled, and these were to private entities that did outreach and enrollment as well. That was a big hit to Texas. There were 18 cities that had these contracts. 6 of those cities were in Texas. So huge hit to Texas's enrollment capacity. And then we saw the navigator cuts, and Texas saw more than a third of our funding for our navigator programs was cut. And just to tell people what navigators are, they're those it's a government grant that goes to local community-based organizations here in Houston that are part of the fabric of our community, and that money went to help them staff up and have people that can do that one-on-one in-person assistance. Everybody knows that insurance is complicated.
Absolutely.
Everybody knows this.
Right.
And so most people really want that extra help to go and sit down with somebody that can help them walk through the process and get them enrolled. And people are more likely to effectively enroll if they have that extra assistance. And so we're going to see a reduction in the capacity of these organizations because they receive such large cuts. And that really impacts your most vulnerable populations. These organizations were targeted because they were part of the communities of people that need more assistance.
Right.
Maybe they're not English speaking primarily communities where you're primarily speaking Spanish or some other language. And they were targeted because they were part of those communities, and they could help those communities over the obstacles that they might face. So I think that it's going to make it harder for those more vulnerable populations to get enrolled.
Okay, so Nisha, you work with many activist organizations out here that engage a whole lot of people. Do you guys have plans to sort of mitigate that we won't have as many navigators, that we won't have an advertising budget by filling in that gap?
That's exactly what we're trying to do. Excuse me. Our Indivisible general meeting on October 29th is going to feature Melissa as well as Aurora Harris from Young Indivisibles, and they're going to come in and talk to us a lot of the conversation we're having now, and also how we can engage our community people, our volunteers, or get volunteers in to help bridge that gap between some of the advertisements that's gone, the staff that they no longer have, and maybe we can help augment some of the navigators to have people to actually help people enroll. And we're also going to try to help them get the word out through social media, different social media blitzes and different campaigns. So our meeting on the 29th, 2 o'clock at the Montrose Center is going to be completely dedicated to helping bridge this gap with the ACA enrollment.
Okay, let's repeat that again, because this is going to be an important meeting to attend from Indivisible Houston. So how can they get there? When, what time, all that good stuff?
The meeting is October 29th. It starts at 2 o'clock at the Montrose Center. I don't have the Montrose Center address off the top of my head, but you can go
Google Montrose Center.
You can either Google Montrose Center. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Or go to the Indivisible Houston Facebook page or our webpage, and the information is there.
Okay, well, thank you very much. But ladies, please give us a little chance here. We have to go ahead and plug for some money and ask these people to keep us on air. So, folks, please give us a call at 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. We need you right now to give us a call and keep these programs on air. Last week we did very well. We need to do better this week. So, I mean, is anybody
We just got a pledge in. Jimbo in Houston. He's helping us along the way. That is our first donation this hour. And I wanted to add that the Montrose Center is on 401 Bernard Street.
Thank you so kindly, Shannon. Shannon, could you tell the folks that are listening to our show now, what do we have to offer them on our show if they will just become a part of our family, KPFT?
Well, there are so many different items that we are offering, but in particular this hour, we're offering Egberto Willis, As I See It, Class Warfare, your very own book.
Yes, ma'am.
The only resort to right-wing doom. And, of course, we still have Marcus's book. That is called The Resistance Handbook, 45 Ways to Stop Trump. We're offering that at the $120 pledge level. If you want to break that up to $10 per month, you can help us throughout the year. And then once you have most of it paid off, we'll send it your way. So there's a lot of ways to give. Those are just a few slight examples. But however you give to KPFT, it all goes to powering community radio.
Now, let me ask you something, folks. Today, we brought in Nisha and Melissa to discuss something that affects us as a community, not, wherever you are, whether you're with an employer, because people don't realize it. If the individual market dies, the employer market goes up as well. We're all in the same pool. They just don't tell you that. Our healthcare system is a closed loop. Some people get screwed, others not as much. but it's a closed loop. So if you sit down there with an employer saying, well, you know, I have employer insurance, and those 10 or 13% that are on the individual market, that's just a small percentage. Why change the system for just a small percentage? Folks, that small percentage affects you as well. Now, what we give you here at KPFT is we bring folks here who are going to tell you the details of what's going on, something that you aren't going to get when you get to these other stations. They don't spend the time so that somebody like Melissa can go into the details of exactly how these things affect you. That's what we bring. And it's whether you're listening now or you're listening on the vlogcast or the podcast or you're listening on Facebook Live or wherever you're listening, you have all these different options to be all of us have these options to be educated. So the only way we can do that is to keep a station like KPFT, the only progressive station in Southeast Texas, on air. 713-526-5738. We need to hear those phones ringing, and right now they're very quiet. So please, again, give us a call at 713-526-5738. We're almost at half the show, and we're not even yet at 10%.
Well, luckily I can say that Hank is taking a pledge out there right now.
Okay.
So he's joining Jimbo, and I would like to thank that person next. Thank you for doing your part. But yes, we are behind. We did fantastic last week.
Yes, we did.
With your support. You helped us blow it out of the water, but we have a goal each week.
Our goal for Politics Done Right is pretty high, folks.
Because we're great. This is a great show. I mean, we connect people with our community.
Yes,
we're
we
able
do.
to plug them in with information they don't find anywhere else. I mean, what you were talking about the ACA and about just all of the different elements. It's so easy to say, yeah, I get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I need to register by said date, and okay, I twist my arm. But the way you're able to break it down, it really makes the difference.
It's very important. I mean, you can't play with your health. You can't play with your personal economy. And what a lot of people don't understand is when you don't take healthcare seriously, when you don't put the interest in that, you are playing with your personal economy, and that affects you throughout your life. You know, a kid, and when I say a kid, imagine I'm calling 20-something-year-olds kids, you know. But anyhow, when you're talking about young folk that don't really know what's going on, and they go break a leg, that could affect them for the rest of their lives. Mm-hmm. A 27-year-old who breaks their leg, who have to be in the hospital and in intensive care for a couple of days, that could affect the rest of their lives. So, I mean, we have people like Melissa and Nisha trying to explain to these folks why it is that you need to do what you need to do to get the Affordable Care Act, to make sure that the Affordable Care Act stays alive. And it only stays alive if you participate. One of the things that Trump is doing is he is trying to make the Affordable Care Act self-destruct. It's called dying by 1,000 cuts. It's also called dying by attrition. There are several different ways that you can explain that. That is what they're trying to do. And what we see Melissa, Nisha, and other great activists doing out here is they are making sure that in as much as Trump is trying his utter best to sabotage what we have out here, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, whatever you want to call it, that they won't let it happen. But for them not to let it happen, they need a platform. They need your ears. They need a place where they can put that information out there that thousands of Houstonians, hundreds of thousands of Houstonians can actually hear the message, absorb the message in the great way that they're able to put it. That's why we need you to call 713-526-5738. You know, let me tell you something. People complain. They complain that Trump got elected. We are complaining Trump got elected. Here's the deal. Everybody wants to hammer Trump. Trump did what he wanted to do. Trump wanted to get elected, and by God, he did it.
And he still does what he wants to do.
Yes, but he did it. And you know what? He used the platforms that they had available on the right. He used the platforms, the social media platforms. He used all to do it. Mm-hmm. We, progressives, thinking conservatives, need to do the same. But we can only do the same if we got what he got, and that is the support from our audience.
Keep this platform alive.
713-526-5738. Is Hank done yet?
I believe so. And Don's standing by, waiting he's going to turn on that mic and tell us who to thank.
Talk to me, Don.
We have nobody to thank except for Jimbo once again.
Oh,
we're still waiting for people to call.
Oh, come on, folks.
713-526-5738.
We are 30 minutes into the show. When did our rush start last week?
Oh my gosh, at the beginning.
Okay, we need to have our rush now, folks. 713-526-5738. I want to get Melissa and Nisha back into the game, but we need to have those phones ringing.
Yeah.
And I know you want to hear them, so I'm giving you a little bit. I'm going to give you 3 more minutes to give us a call before we go back to them to get busy.
I was gloating last week because you beat Jeff Berg. You blew him out of the water, and I was like, well, there's that. Egberto beat you. What are you going to do about it?
What did Jeff say?
He wasn't surprised because he knows how much you're connected in the community.
Well, we try to get it done.
The content.
We are connected. We.
Yes.
There's no I. We.
Yes.
Thank you.
But just how many people, just the political elements, all of these different grassroots networks that all you're able to cover, that you're able to bring on over and over again. Just, it's limitless. I mean.
Absolutely. That's what we have to do. But folks, to give these people exposure, and for those that are listening that I've never given, okay, I mean, I don't want to be a pressure salesman, but today I need to be a pressure salesman. And that is to tell you that we need your support. I mean, it's the other person is not going to do it. The other person is not going to do it. The other person is actually you. You know, every time I remember listening to KPFT before I actually got a program here, before I was doing what you were doing too for Mike Honig. I was actually his operator back in the early days. You know, I remember sitting in my car with the cell phone and hearing Ernesto. You remember Ernesto all of the time?
Aguilar.
Ernesto Aguilar calling several times because it was like, no, we got to do it. We've got to do it. So, folks, we have a huge goal and we are nowhere close. So please give us a call at 713-526-5738. Again, that is 713-526-5738.
Help stand up for a progressive, grassroots coverage right here at KPFT, where you're able to call in and join the conversation.
Also, real quick, I just want to say, notice how right now we're talking about the issues.
Yes.
We are not sitting there going, oh my God, Trump got elected. No, we're talking about what are we going to do afterwards. And that's important for this station to have your voice on air and your guests to be able to talk about these things and show people that we still have a life after Trump just getting elected.
Right. We are showing folks that Trump is elected, but these young women are going to make sure that whatever sabotage, whatever he does, they are not going to just take it sitting down. They are going to go out there and work it. And they're on air right now trying to tell you what you need to do. Thank you for that call. What we need to do to make sure things happen. I just heard one phone ring. Could we get another 2 phones ringing like right now? 713-526-5738. This is the worst part of doing a radio show because on a public station, Melissa and Nisha, because we have to stay alive. And it's sort of difficult to constantly tell people, well, we need to have you to call in, right?
I wouldn't call it the worst part. I would say this is their opportunity to show us what this radio show means.
I'm going to have to defer to you, man.
I enjoy it because it's a little bit of interaction. It shows us, they're showing us how much we matter to them. This show matters to them. But
you are so right.
Just this opportunity, it's exciting. It can be, except when things are going terribly wrong, and then it really is soul crushing. But
yes.
We live by the hour. It's hour by hour.
That was poor choices of words by me. Not that way. What I'm trying to say though is that we need you to call in and asking. We just know that you want to do it. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. We're going to go back to Melissa right now, and then we'll come back. But please give us a call as we speak to Melissa. Okay, Melissa, we know what the problem is right now. Nisha explained that we're going to be doing some work to try to get these people to start, registering for the Affordable Care Act. Why don't you first tell us what people need to know now and what people need to do? When is it going to start and how is it going to happen? Is the website up yet? Or I heard there's going to be some maintenance in some of the days that. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's great. I'm so glad that you asked that because I think it's one of the things that people really need to realize because it's going to look different this year. As part of the ACA sabotage efforts from the Trump administration, they have shortened the amount of time that people have to get enrolled. We have a mere 45 days, folks. So we've gone from 3 months of time to enrollment in the last few years to only 6 weeks. So you've only got 6 weeks to get enrolled, and it starts November 1st and it ends December 15th. And really, if you're interested in getting access to affordable coverage, try to get in the door. If you need help with the local enrollment assister, the Enroll Gulf Coast Coalition is here to help you. We have navigators that are here to help you, but try to get in as soon as you can after November 1st, because the longer you wait, then the longer the lines get, and the more traffic they have on the website. And we do, there is some uncertainty this year about how well the website will be maintained when you have an administration that's not interested really in the success of the law administering the website. So we definitely want to see people get in the door early, find that local assistance if that's what you need. But, starting November 1, go to healthcare.gov and get yourself enrolled. And speaking of the maintenance, it is confirmed. I know a lot of people are skeptical about this.
Right.
It is absolutely true that they will be shutting the website down for 12 hours each Sunday. So Sunday mornings, basically, you won't have access to the website until noon.
Of all the days they chose to do that Sunday morning. And what's the purpose of that?
So, the administration would say that this is how they're going to maintain the website. There are people that, I am not a tech expert, but there are tech experts who've said 12 hours of maintenance a week on a website is too much. You don't need that much, especially for a website that's been up and running for years.
Right.
So, definitely this could be seen as a way to reduce those people coming in the door. What I hope for, because I really want people to have access to coverage, is that because they have that 12 hours of maintenance every week, that means there is no downtime any other time.
Right.
And so I'm going to hold the administration to that you have this, downtime. So that means that you need to keep the website up the entire rest of the week. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I will say that that people can get that local in-person assistance here in Houston, and they can get help enrolling, because I know it can feel like a lot. I think it's really different. This is an interesting thing for me. I have employer-sponsored coverage, and you just have one plan, and that's what you get, right? You don't have that. It is so much more of a challenge for a person to buy insurance individually, because they've got to go, and there's 30 some odd plans, and what do they mean? And is my doctor in the plan? Is my medicine covered in the plan? These are things that that in-person assistance can really help you with. And we do have a great coalition here that's run by that's facilitated by the city of Houston, but it's got a lot of great community-based organizations, many of whom can help if you've got friends or family members who maybe need assistance in a different language. So I would encourage people to go to the Enroll Gulf Coast website to find that assistance.
What is it? What is that website?
I believe it's enrollgulfcoast.org, but let me grab it for you.
No problem. While you look that up, Nisha, are your groups starting to engage more than, let's say, the groups that you're surrounded by, but maybe churches and other organizations that will try to get a lot of these people involved, the people that we normally don't reach in some of the activism that you do?
Well, not yet. I think that personally, what we're looking at is kind of waiting until we have the meeting with Melissa, and then we are going to have our Indivisible group try to go out and be that connector to the groups that Melissa's talking about. So they can, if they're able to volunteer, there's a couple of different levels of volunteering. Can you tell us about them?
Absolutely. So we have a volunteer interest form that is live right now. And if people want to go ahead and get started in the process, they could fill that out. But they'll learn a lot more about it at the meeting at the Montrose Center later this month. So basically, even if you don't want to leave your house, maybe you're an introvert, you can be a social media amplifier. We're calling these people our enrollment champions. And so you can learn more about how to talk about the ACA. Even if you were an activist on the ACA ACA defense throughout the summer, it's a little bit different when you're talking to a person and you're trying to convince them to enroll than it is when you're calling your senator or your representative trying to tell them to uphold the law. So it's just a little bit of a different training. So we'll get you training, we'll get you a toolkit that's got social media graphics that you can just blast out to all your friends and family. And it also, some of that training, we tackle some of those hard questions. So if you've got that uncle that's like, oh, I heard that Obamacare was a disaster, the premiums are so high, you can learn how to counteract that to say, actually, most people get financial assistance. And for those that get financial assistance, they can get coverage for less than $100 a month.
Absolutely.
Like, these are the sorts of things that we'll train you on. And then the second level is maybe you want to do some in-person help. You're one of those people that wants to get out, be in the community. Well, we're actually working with the Enroll Gulf Coast Coalition to create volunteer opportunities where you can help at outreach events, do tabling, and maybe help those assisters where they've got limited resources this year. So the idea is to support them. So let them do what they do best, which is help people get enrolled. But we can get volunteers in there to do intake, to help spread the word in the community. That's what we're really looking for.
Now, how do we connect those volunteers to the work?
Oh, that's great. So we, and we'll talk about this at the meeting, but we have this volunteer form, and that actually gives everybody gives us all of the names of all of the volunteers, and we will provide those names to the Enroll Gulf Coast Coalition, and they'll get you signed up, and they'll tell you when you can show up and where. And so we're working on exactly what that looks like, but the volunteer form is live now, but people will learn a lot more about that at the meeting.
Okay, and you said it's live again. Please repeat where they can find it again.
Oh, sure. So the volunteer form is actually, it's best probably, you can find it at the Indivisible page. We'll make sure that's
we'll
up
put
there.
that all on the page after this
But
show.
if you're interested in that in-person enrollment, it was enrollgulfcoast.com.
Enrollgulfcoast.com. Thank you very much. Now we have to run back to the phones and ask folks to give us a call at 713-526-5738. We're coming down to the 17th. We only have 17 minutes left for the show, so we really need you to start giving us a call.
And you know what? I would like to offer, there's a new tickets on the table for Joe Biden is coming into town.
Oh.
That's going to be December 7th at the Smart Financial Center. It's coming at 8 p.m. and we have 10 pairs of tickets available. And if you pledge $200, we can send you there.
Come on, folks. Biden, you want to see the vice president. You know he's a great one to watch.
Yeah, it's part of his book tour. He's traveling around the United States, and I think that would be, inspiring to say the least.
713-526-5738. And also, why don't you tell us a little bit about that USB drive?
Oh, Voices That Change the World?
Yes.
That is something special. Very truly Pacifica. It's over 1,000 hours of content from, our archives of history. I mean, there is just so much on there. There's famous speeches. There's Malcolm X. There's Muhammad Ali. The names are endless. It basically, if you have it on you have your own little slice of history that you're able to, pull up and learn a heck of a lot. Cesar Chavez, Dolores Huertas,
Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, everybody's on that. All their speeches are all over that DVD, but the USB drive.
And there's poetry and audiobooks.
Right.
And it captured these voices before they were lost.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing how inspiring it is. These people that would not give up, they came from nothing, didn't have anything to stand on, but they made change happen. And
it's only here at Pacifica that you get at KPFT that you get that. So, folks, give us a call, 713-526-5738. Give us whatever you can, but we really need to start raising some. We only have 15 minutes to go. 713-526-5738. 713-526-5738. Do we have anything yet? Nothing yet?
Nothing yet, but those Biden tickets.
Hey,
folks, $200. You can spread that out. Once you get the most of it, then we can send those tickets out because that Joe Biden's coming out in December. So, hey, You can
for these special ones, you cannot spread out payments for
you cannot
tickets.
Those
That's
Just put it on the card.
Just put it on the card.
Yeah, that's straight up. We want to make sure that you have that, but everything else you could split up.
713-526-5738. Come on, folks. Let's get those phones ringing. I'll get back to Melissa in a little bit, but let's get those phones ringing. I'll get back to Nisha in a little bit. Let's get those phones ringing. 713. Thank you for that call. 526-5738. We need to hear from you. Remember, you constantly wonder, how did Donald Trump get elected? How did Donald Trump get elected? You constantly wonder that. Let me postulate something for you. We just didn't have what it took, maybe. Let me tell you where I'm going here. What we need to do is support that which will bring progressive candidates to light.
Yes.
And the only way to do that is to support it. We can't wait for the other person to do it. We really can't wait for the other person to do it. Let me say one other thing. Every host that you see out here, we're doing this out of civic duty. We don't get paid for this. We're doing it out of civic duty. And you are listening. We're asking you to make your civic duty as well be a contribution to KPFT. It's a tax deductible contribution that deductible at the end of the year, and you've done a good thing. Not only you've done a good thing, you've kept the station, a small community station with a 100,000 watt transmitter that goes all the way from, where do we go? All the way to Bowman, Galveston.
Yeah, you can hear us all the way to Beaumont. You can. It
entire
varies.
metro.
It varies how far we truly reach based on who you talk to and when they're picking us up. But
yes,
at Huntsville we have that repeater out there. We have a repeater over in Galveston, and people do say you could hear us all the way to Beaumont. So I think that's quite something.
So let's get some calls from Bowman. Let's get some calls from Kingwood. Let's get some calls from the Woodlands. Let's get some calls from Houston. Everywhere.
Let's get some calls from Spring. Also, I want to thank Kurt out there for joining us.
Thank you so kindly, Kurt.
Nice pledge.
Thank you, Kurt. Folks, 713-526-5738. We don't have much time left. Do you really want to leave us in this state? Do you really want to leave us not pulling our end of the bargain?
Yes, I don't think we've
ever not pulled our end of the bargain.
I don't think it's ever been this bad at this time of the show.
No.
So if you appreciate calling in every week, if you appreciate participating, that this is an engaging discussion, I want to hear from you. I know so many of you, I talk to you by name every single Thursday. Come on, guys, do your part. If you didn't donate last week, please do donate this week. And if you just listen, if you tune in, I saw there's a good chunk of people listening online. I want to hear from you.
713-526-5738. We need your calls, folks. We need your calls. We're going to get Melissa and Nisha to give a closer. But before we do that, we really need to start hearing those phones ring. Remember, this is what we give you. We're not just giving you the little 2-minute sound bites.
Don't let democracy die like this. We want to.
I like the way you said that. Don't let democracy die.
We want to make sure we have a platform for both voices, right?
Yeah,
we want to make sure.
So.
Look how well funded the other side is. How they have.
Thank you for that call.
So much money backing these ideas.
The thing that we have to realize, folks, is it's only you, right? Nobody else is gonna do it. When I went from when I gave up my company to become a complete political activist, right? Mm-hmm. I had to make a choice. I had to decide: am I willing to give up on all that stuff that a business have and live the life of activists? And we all know what the life of activists is like, right?
Yeah.
But we put value in the things that are necessary to make lives better. In my case, for my daughter, for you, Shannon, the young folks, for both of you here, our two young activists in here. So what I'm saying, folks, is we need to continue this, and you need to do, or we are asking you to do your part as well.
Step up to the plate. 713-526-5738. The truth of the matter is,
we can complain about what's going wrong. Let's make things right by you being a part of the solution. And you're being a part of the solution by being a part of KPFT. Because again, having the likes of Melissa and Nisha here discussing something of what I call something of existential value to many people in Houston. Believe it or not, this is of existential value. Some people, because of the changes that Trump has made, will die. It sounds terrible. It sounds over the hill or over the top, but it's true. What he is doing will kill. What these two young ladies are doing here is they're making sure that you are aware of how not to get, I don't want to overblow that one now, but how to protect yourself, how to protect your health care, how to protect the health care here in Harris County and throughout the country. Do we have anybody else yet?
Don, please tell me there's someone out there.
Of course, there's someone out here.
To
I want to
thank.
I want to thank Janie from Houston.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank
for
you, Janie.
pledging, and also I want to thank Paul from Stafford, Texas.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
So we're reaching out to Stafford, Texas, and also
Thank you for that call.
boom. And it's funny because they just told us that apparently a company has, whenever they put somebody on hold,
Yes.
the show plays
Really?
live.
All right.
I love that. I love that.
So I love that. So thanks for calling, people. Don't let us down. Don't let democracy down.
We have never, ever not met our quota, folks. So let's do it. 713-526-5738. I'm going to put Melissa and Nisha back on in a few more minutes, but I need to get to that quota, folks. 713-526-5738.
And don't forget, we have 10 pairs of copies of this American Promise Tour, Joe Biden's tour. And it's a series of conversations as he travels this nation, and he's, connecting people just like politicians are supposed to. Amazing,
Yes,
right?
connecting communities.
Actually explaining what's going on
Absolutely
out there.
Absolutely so.
They say it goes beyond the 24-hour news cycle and 140 characters. We know who they're talking about.
Yeah, tell me. Wait, who are they talking about?
I don't know.
I don't know either. 713-526-5738. Tell us a little bit more about two books. We have, As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. How much are we selling that one for?
That one we are offering at the pledge level of $120. If you decide to support KPFT at that level, we will send that your way.
And that's my book. I'll sign it for you guys. Okay?
And also we're offering The Resistance Handbook, 45 Ways to Stop Trump.
And that's my buddy, the owner of dailycoast.com. And let me tell you something. That book is the bomb. 713-526-5738. Again, that is 713-526-5738. Let us get those calls in. Anybody on the phone? Tell me there are people answering phones.
There are some. So hopefully in a few minutes we'll have a few more people to thank.
Okay, and folks, we still need to hear those phones ringing. 713-526-5738. Thank you for that call. 713. Let me tell you something, Melissa and Nisha. I just am happy that we brought you guys on here. But you are probably also responsible for the slowness of our calls because you were so good at telling. No, let me tell you, because it was engaging what people need to know about what's going on with Obamacare, with the Affordable Care Act. So they don't want to stop and pledge. They want to listen to what the information that you're giving them. So I'm going to hold off for another minute and a half, couple minutes. So folks, call now. Call right now because I'm going to get Melissa and Nisha to give us a quick closer at the end. But we do need you to give us a call at 713-526-5738 so you won't miss anything.
Don't miss Joe Biden when he comes into town December 7th over at the Smart Financial Center. That's going to be an opportunity.
Thank you for that call.
You want to meet a real politician that had values and belief system. Meet them before they're gone. 713-526-5738. We can give you a pair of tickets to that. His book tour, his lecture here in Houston. If you that's at the $200 level. So if you donate $200 to KPFT to keep us people powered, we will send that your way. 713-526-5738.
Anybody to thank yet? They're still working on it?
We're still working on 2 currently.
Okay, let's get more calls coming in, folks. 713 713-526-5738. I don't hear that phone. I really don't. Come on, folks. I want to hear you. 713-526. We are down to 4 minutes. I need you to call now. Make your money count for politics done right. Make it count for progressive values. Make it count for real information. Make it count for Melissa and Nisha, because they came here. They came here, two activists again. All they're asking for is to provide that info to you to make sure that things are better for you, for your health care. Don't you think it's worth keeping KPFT on air to ensure that we can have the Melissas of the world, the Nishas of the world,
bringing you the voices of the grassroots.
Exactly, not 2 minutes bites, but actual information that you can act on. 713-526-5738. I'm going to go to Melissa. Do you have something to say first?
Yeah, real quick.
Yes.
I want to thank Billy out in Houston.
Thank you, Billy.
For pledging. Also, I want to thank what sounds like somebody who's trying to get Joe Biden tickets. So, folks,
Great.
We only have 10 pair of tickets. And if somebody's getting it now, that means we're down to 9. And this is the first show to actually say that we have those tickets, because we just got those tickets.
All right, folks, 713-526-5738. Melissa, thank you so kindly for coming out here and informing. Do you have something that you can tell us in 30 seconds that I forgot to ask you?
Well, I want to correct something you asked me earlier.
Yes.
You asked where they could find the volunteer sign-up form. Caught me off guard a little
Yes.
bit. It is at the top of the covertexasnow.org page. So if you want to get started today and start getting emails this week on what you can do, you can go to covertexasnow.org and you can hit I want to volunteer to help get the word out about the ACA, and that's right up there at the top. And then if you're a person who is uninsured right now, or maybe you've got the Affordable Care Act insurance and you need more information, I think it's important to remember November 1st is when you start signing up, and you've only got till December 15th.
Do it right away.
So get signed up. The ACA is still here. Financial help is still available. So that'll make those, for those who are eligible, that'll make that cost less than $100 a month. So that's still there too.
Thank you, Melissa. Nisha, give me a quick closer about what you guys are going to be doing going forward.
Going forward, I want to get as many people as possible out to our meeting on the 29th, which is going to feature Melissa and Aurora Harris from Young Indivisibles. And she is really, really involved in helping to get the word out to young people, like Melissa was mentioning,
Right.
because we really need young people to buy into this so that premiums stay somewhat level for everybody. Both of them will be speakers at our Indivisible General Meeting on October 29th, 2 p.m. at the Montrose Center on Barnard.
Thank you very much, Nisha. Thank you so kindly for being here. Melissa, thank you so kindly for being here. I'm not going to go with our role on I'm going to go keep pitching, because we'll leave the music alone. Folks, you still have 2 minutes. 713-526-5738. Do we have anybody to thank? Nobody to thank.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
Dawn, do we have anybody to thank?
Yes, we have
well, then prove
Jamie
me
from
wrong.
Houston to thank.
Thank you so kindly, Jamie. Anybody else, Don?
No.
Okay, folks,
1 minute
713-526-5738. We have 1 minute left. 713-526-5738. We can do it. All you have to do is do it. 713-526-5738. Let me hear those phones ring. Remember, you can be a part of the solution. We need you to be a part of the solution to keep KPFT on air.
Also-
713. Yes, sir.
Also, I want to thank Ferris for being the first person to get those Joe Biden tickets.
Thank you so kindly.
Call 713-526-5738 and be the second. And if not, just donate.
Donate whatever you can. 713. We have 30 seconds. Call. Let me hear those phones ring, and I'll go in there and answer the phones if you call right now. 713-526-5738. I don't hear the phones. I only got 10 seconds, guys. Make those fingers roll.
713-526-5738. Help us out. Help us pull this through. We need to hear from you. Pledge online at kpft.org. 713-526-5738. 713-526.
My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and we are out.
Thank you very much for listening to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. You can personally reach me by sending an email to egberto@politicsdoneright.com. Remember, Egberto is spelled E-G-B-E-R-T-O Change starts with you. 90.1 KPFT gives you information not tainted by corporate interest. Please visit kpft.org and contribute. Let's ensure continued access to real information and news remain available to all. Again, thank you very much for listening to Politics Done Right.